Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I am Brian, and today we're going to go over a very budget-friendly option for a 600-watt power station. This power station right here comes from KINGBOSS, and this is their newer 600-watt version. I have been using their 500-watt version for about 6 months now, but they sent me this one, which is the upgraded version to review and test out, and I wanted to show you folks some of the features of it. So just a quick review of it. Front, sides, back, and then of course you have your LED light on the other side. But just a really nice kind of, again, budget-friendly power station. You don't have to go spend $1,000 for some of these things. And speaking of price, this one right now on Amazon is going for $334, and that is with an Amazon discount applied, and I'll put that link down in the description for you. But $334, and the rated capacity of this unit is 568 watt hours. That is lithium ion chemistry in here, so that's going to be rated to 800 cycles to 80%. So that means you're going to get 800 charge and discharge cycles before you reach 80% of the original battery capacity. So if you use this every single day, that's about 2.5 years worth of use before you only get down to 80% of the original capacity, which is not bad. So another way to look at that is it's going to cost you 41 cents to get to 80% every time you charge and discharge this thing. So 800 charge and discharge cycles, 41 cents equals $334. About. I didn't take out the decimal places all the way out, but on average, 40 cents. And with this being 568 watt hours, you're looking at around 58 cents a watt hour, which from all of the power stations that I've reviewed is one of the lesser expensive options. And it's a pretty good little unit, especially for the price. So let's go over a few specs on this unit before I bring you in closer. It weighs 11 pounds, so it's actually fairly lightweight for a close to 600 watt hour battery unit. And again, that's because of the lithium ion chemistry. It is a 600 watt inverter with a rated 1200 watt surge. You're only gonna get 1200 watts for a very, very short period of time. And you do have 2 AC outlets over here on the side, and we'll go over that in just a little bit. And you've got all your standard ports. So let me pull the camera in closer and kind of show you guys what we're looking at. So you're gonna have your 12 to 24 volt input for charging here. You're going to have your 12 volt cigarette style input port, and you're gonna have 2 DC 12 volt 8 amp input ports as well, and that is on one circuit with your DC button right there. Then you're gonna have your 2.4 amp USB-A, your 65 watt power delivery output, and your quick charge 18 watt USB-A ports right here, also on its own circuit with the power button right there to turn these ports on. And then you're gonna have your 2 AC outlets, and to turn on the inverter, you're just gonna hit that button up there. We do have a colored display that's going to show your input and output watts, as well as a battery meter that's going to show your state of charge. And then over here on the side, you've got your LED light. Let's turn this little heater on, and you can see we're pulling 300 watts. So let's check the voltage. All right, so with around 210 watts, we're looking at 111 volts. Okay, so I've got a space heater on. We jumped up to 600 watts, 670, 690, 730, so it cut off around 730 watts. Test that again. Slowly crank up the heat. 680, 720, 745, and it cuts off. So I would say that this inverter cuts off at around 700 watts. I don't see the full 1200 surge watt capacity coming through it. And just one more time, so 750. As soon as it hits 750, it cuts off. Let me try a smaller heater. Put that on high. Cut that inverter on. So right now we're pulling 365 watts with the small desk heater and a small fan. That's around, now it's kind of settling down. It's going to go down around 250 watts. Let me turn on the capacity tester going through the DC portion of this battery station and crank it up to around 8 amps, 7.89 amps. So it's pulling around 93 watts out of the DC output, and then we've got the inverter going for a total of 336 watts. So that gets us to around 350 watts with all of these ports running. Now, I always get questions, can it accept pass-through charging? And the answer is yes. So let's plug up the charging brick, and you can see we are inputting about 110 watts and outputting 350 watts. So it does support pass-through charging. And here's an example of the sine wave while we are pulling 220 watts. Okay, on to capacity. So I did two tests. I did a DC capacity discharge test and an AC capacity discharge test, and that will be coming up here. DC capacity test is finished. We are at 0%, and I was able to squeeze out 434.73 watt hours for a efficiency of 77%. Okay, so for the AC discharge test, you can see here that my battery's at 100%. I'm gonna plug this fan in and keep track of the wattage used by this kilowatt meter. And when it's all said and done, I'll be able to see how many watts this fan pulled out of this via the AC inverter. All right, so AC discharge test just completed. We are down to 0%. So let's see how many watt hours we're able to pull out of here. 436 watt hours. So again, this equates to 77% efficient off of the AC inverter, which was the exact same on the DC discharge test as well. Okay, so as you can see, we got around 77 to 78% efficiency rating, which isn't great and it's not bad. I typically like to see things at least around 80%, but again, this is $334. Now, who is this power station for? It's for anyone who needs to power around 500 watts or less around campsite. Powering lights, charging your phones, your iPads, running a small fan, some LED lights, a 12-volt fridge. Do not expect to run anything over 600 watts. I could not get that 1200 watt rated surge off of this thing. As you saw, it cut off around 700 to 750 watts. So I would recommend, if you're going to use the inverter side of this thing, to only push it to around 500 watts or so, because that's where it's happy at. Anything over that, I wouldn't trust it. But in my opinion, you're not going to be buying a little 500 watt, 600 watt power station to power big appliances. You're going to be mainly using this to charge up things, run a few LED lights, maybe a small fan. So that's who this is for the weekend camper or emergency uses to charge up your phones if you have power outages, or to run a few lamps at home. This is not going to be used to run a refrigerator or a hot plate or anything like that. So it does its job well for what it's intended to do. And as far as solar, it does accept solar up to 100 watts. So you can't put a huge array on it, but you can put a 100 watt panel on it, and it does have an MPPT controller built inside it, so it's going to regulate that current coming in so it doesn't fry the battery. But 100 watts max input of solar into this unit. So overall, I would say this is just a good starter battery. You know, if you're in the market for like a Jackery 500 or another 500 watt power station, $330 isn't a bad deal for this, but I'll leave a link down below in the description. You can go check it out yourself. It'll be an Amazon affiliate link down below. So I'll go check it out. If it's still on sale, I think it's a pretty good deal at around 40 cents a watt hour. The only issue that I found with this is that it's rated for 1200 watt surge. I couldn't get it anywhere near 1200 watts. Other than that, I think it's a pretty good little power station. And if you're in the market for one, check out the link below. The price is right, and it's gonna last you a long time, being 800 cycles. Guys, that's my review on the KINGBOSS 600. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Take care.